Hello everybody, it's SB Shuffle here, and this video is the part 2 tutorial on low poly modeling in Blender. And now we're going to go on to the second step and make trees for our little low poly island here. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the terrain, press H to hide it. We're going to go Shift A, go into Mesh, and add our cube. And we can go back into Solid. Now if we click 1, we go ahead and scale it on the Z to about there. Press Tab to go into edit mode, go into face select, grab the top, and then scale that in just a tad. There we go. Awesome. Now click 1 to go back into front facing view. Control R, and we're going to scroll up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then we're going to right click to set those in place. And now what we're going to do, we're going to select these two middle rings, but instead of individually holding Shift and selecting all of them, there's an easier way, and that is holding Alt and then selecting one edge loop, and that'll select an edge ring, and it'll make modeling a lot easier. Alright, so now that we got one edge selected, one edge loop, we're going to go back into 1, we're going to turn on proportional editing, we're going to make sure the circle is within the whole tree, so we're getting the whole thing. We're just going to slide it back just a little bit and get a nice curve. Back into object mode, we're going to scale it on the Z a little bit more and then scale it down. Alright, next up we're going to add a little detail to the trunk. We're going to go ahead, turn off proportional editing. We're going to stick on edge selecting. We're going to go Alt and Shift to select multiple edge loops. We're going to go all the way to the top. We're going to click E, left click, and then after that, we're going to go ahead, go down here, and at the pivot point, we're going to click individual origins. And that's just so when we press S to scale, they're going to scale according to where their position is. We're going to go back into 1. We're just going to drag it down a little bit. There we go. And now, we're going to deselect that by pressing A. We're going to hold Alt, select our edge loops, and we're just going to kind of align these little dresses almost to the trunk of the tree. Perfect. Alright, and now with this top one you can see it's a different color. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into face select. We're going to hold Alt, right click, select all the faces. We're going to go down to shading / UVs and click recalculate, and that should have a nice uniform color. What that dark shading shows is that the faces are pointing in the wrong direction. This gray, this default gray color we have, means that the faces are facing the correct position. So now we're going to click H, hide that, we're going to Shift A, make it plain, we're going to scale it on the X, we're going to click Tab to go into edit mode, Control R, left click, and right click. Perfect. Alright, we're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to do Control R, scroll once, left click, right click. Perfect. And now we can select these 4 vertices up here, click X, and delete those vertices. Then we can go into modifiers and add a mirror modifier. And now that's not doing anything right now because we're on the X axis. What we want to be is on the Y axis. And you can see now whatever we do on one side will affect the other side. So we're going to select this vertex on the end and bring it in pretty close. And then on the other side, we're going to bring it in, but not as close. Perfect. And now we can select these 4 vertices. Just drag them up a little bit, like that. Perfect. And now we can also apply our mirror modifier. You have Tab to go back into object mode. Now we can apply it. Perfect. So now if we go back in, you can see now we can select these vertices and it won't affect the other side. Back into object mode, we're going to select the solidify modifier, and this is going to make our leaf have a little bit of thickness. So we're going to go to about right there at about 0.0450, and we can go ahead and apply that. And back into edit mode, we can hold Alt, right click, and select this middle edge loop, and we can go ahead and just bring that up a little bit. Perfect. Alright, that's looking really good. We can go ahead, bring that over to the right. We're going to Alt-H to bring back our tree and our terrain floor. But we don't want the terrain floor, so we can go ahead and press H and hide that again. So now, with our leaf here, we can go ahead and give it a material. So in our material screen, here, we can go ahead and click New. We can name that leaf. And we can go ahead and give it a green color similar to the grass. That's looking a little bright. We can go ahead and bring that down just a little bit. Perfect. Alright, now if we select our trunk, we're going to create a new material, call that bark. And we're going to go ahead and give that a nice brown. Usually going into yellow and then bringing it down a bit gets you a nice brown. There we go. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and bring our leaf up. And you can see this orange dot in the middle. If I select the leaf, there is an orange dot. And that's the origin. That is the origin of the object. And if we moved around, you can see it's moving it via the point of origin. If we tab into edit mode and press A to select the whole thing, and we move it to the right, what we want to do is we're going to align the edge of the leaf with that orange dot. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to rotate the leaf and make multiple copies around one point of origin. So now if I tab, you can see it moves the same, but you can see the axis, the movement axes are on the orange dot. So we can go ahead and move that to the palm tree, like so. Go ahead and align it a little bit more. And obviously, that's looking a little big. And the beauty of this is if you scale it, it'll scale it to the point of origin. So you don't have to move it. There we go. I'm actually going to scale this on the Y a little bit. And there we are. That's looking pretty good. Now if we go press 7, we do Shift D to duplicate, left click, and then R to rotate. And left click. And we can make multiple sets of leaves. There we go. Alright, that's pretty darn good. And now you can see that the bottom is looking a little messed up. And I will tell you exactly how to fix that. You can go ahead and press H to remove that. And then, using B to select all these, we're going to Control J. And that's going to join all the leaves into one object. There we go. That's better. Alright, and now we can go really deep inside there. And you can see we have a whole cluster of vertices that are just messing us up. It looks weird. It looks stupid. So what we're going to do is we're just going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to select 4 vertices like this, Alt-M, and click at center. We're going to do that for all these guys here. Alright, now we got the outside done. And we can go to the inside. We're just going to select all these outside ones and say at center. There we go. So that's looking a little better. So now we can go ahead and click Alt-H, bring back our trunk, hide the terrain. And we're going to bring our tree trunk up just a little bit so it's barely poking out. There we go. That's good. If we tab into edit mode, we want to face select and select the top face. We can extrude it and then scale it in a little bit just to give us a nice rounded top. Perfect. And that is your nice basic palm tree. And if you want, you could also add some coconuts. We can go ahead, move that to the left, Shift A, mesh, add an icosphere, bring the subdivisions down to 1, and then we can probably make a material, label it coconut, and make another color similar to the bark, but we'll make it a little darker. Perfect. We're going to scale it down, and we're going to bring it up here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. There we go. We're going to go ahead, do Shift D, duplicate it a few more times. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. We got a nice palm tree. So now we're going to go ahead, B, box select, drag all that over there, Alt H, bring back our terrain map, and now we have terrain and a tree. Alright, so now we're doing pretty good. We got a tree and we got a terrain map. But one tree might not be enough, so we're going to press H to hide that. Shift A, we're going to add another cube. We're going to scale this one down a little bit more. C, and there we go. We're going to tab into edit mode, go into face select, grab the top. And this time, it's going to be a little different. We're going to press 1 to go into front view. We're going to E, we're going to make it a little smaller. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to click Control R, left and right click, Control R, left and right click. And now we have nice 4 faces that we can work with. So we're going to go ahead and grab this face right here. You can go ahead E, extrude, and R to rotate the face, and G to move it around. And pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 branches, and we're going to have a nice tree. As you go up, you can make the branches a little smaller, like so. That branch looks pretty good. Let's do another one. We'll make this one a little larger. Have it go up a little straighter, like that. That's looking pretty good. Going to this one, E to extrude, R to rotate. And as you do this more often, you'll get the hang of it. It's actually pretty easy. Undo there. Leave that one out here. And the last one, we'll make this one go out a little more. And up, scale it in. Alright, perfect. So we got a nice tree right here. And now this is looking actually a little creepy. We're going to do select that, Control plus to grab multiple. And I think we're going to move this out a little bit over here. Here we go. That's looking pretty good. And now, if you want, we can Control R and scroll up once. And now we can have branches on top of branches. How about them apples? There we go, and that'll add some nice detail to our tree right there. Maybe add one more over here. Not too big. And there we go. So that's looking pretty good. We got a nice tree. Now the bottom is looking a little funky. We don't want that. So we can go ahead and grab these. Not that one. Control plus. We're actually going to get rid of these at the top. And we're going to scale it in a little bit. And it's okay if the bottom is a little smaller than the top. It actually looks pretty nice. Here we go. So now we're going to Shift A. We're going to get an icosphere. And you can have the subdivisions at either 1 or 2, doesn't matter. I'm going to keep it at 2 here. And scale it in a little bit. And this is going to be our leaf. And now before we do anything, we're going to go ahead and get that leaf material so it can be the same color. So now if we go into material, it's now green. And while we're at it, we'll make the tree have the bark material. Alright, so now we have a nice leaf bundle. You can go to place it on there, and then you can scale it in any direction you want, and then just Shift E to multiply. We're going to make this one like that. We're going to make it a little taller. Over here, maybe make it a little wider. There we go. Alright, ooh, it's a little big. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it a little bit. Alright, and there we go. We got a nice tree right here. Nice and low poly. Maybe add a little bit in the middle. Make it a little flatter. And there we go. Just to give us some nice detail right there. Perfect. Okay. So now we have another tree. And now, instead of using Shift D to duplicate these trees all the time, we're going to go ahead and make a hair particle system. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and select our terrain. And next to textures, you can see these little stars, these twinkling stars, and you can see particle system. And this, voice crack. And this is what you should have. This is what your screen should look like on the right. And everything should be like this. And under type, we can go ahead and instead of emitter, we can select hair. And now we can select the material slot, grass. That's good. Go on tab. Now we can go on to material, just to make it easier on ourselves. We're going to select a lot of the grass, because there we go. Alright, that's looking pretty good. And this little strip that we selected is where our trees are going to go. Now if we go into this is going to be our vertex groups. I already have one set up here, but we're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to press the plus sign. Rename the group to tree group. We're going to go ahead and click assign. And now if we deselect that, whenever we select this, it's going to go ahead and bring those faces back up. It's very helpful. Now back into the particle system. We can go ahead, click advanced. There we go, that's looking good. And then if we scroll down, we can find vertex groups. And under density, we can select tree group. Alright, and before we get any farther with that, we're going to go ahead and select our tree. We're just going to Control J that and make it one solid object. And we can go ahead and rename it. Call it plain tree. Perfect. We can go ahead and click on this again, go back into the particle system. And under object, you can go ahead and click on plain tree. And as you can see, these are facing the wrong direction. But this is a pretty easy fix. You just go down here, click rotatio, even though that's supposed to be rotation. And if we grab our tree over here and we rotate it, you can see the trees rotate along with it. Perfect. Alright, and that's looking pretty good. But you can see the trees are obviously going through the floor. We don't want that. This is an easy fix as well. If we grab our standard tree right here, click tab to go into edit mode, and we just press G, move it up a little bit, and place it. There we go. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Awesome. And if we want, we can go ahead and maybe even scale the tree down a little bit. There we go, that's looking better. And we have a nice bundle of trees here. They're all the same, but it looks pretty good nonetheless. And if you want, you can do the same thing with the palm trees over on the sandbank. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Awesome, and now, with our terrain map being completed, we can go ahead and take both our trees using Shift, click M, and go ahead and move that to the second layer, and they will not appear here anymore. If we go down here, we can see our trees. They're nice and safe, they're in here. And then if we go back to our first layer, we have the terrain map. We can go ahead, move that out of the way, get our camera. And that is our low poly terrain with trees, materials, a mountain, a river, some sand, and some grass. Alright everyone, and that's going to do it for our low poly tutorial in Blender. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.